it's, people always say that, I can only change me. And usually when they say that, what they're thinking is that I have no impact or influence on my spouse. It's like almost a dismissal of the impact that I can have on my spouse. And the truth, I think, is a little bit more sophisticated. Like, in other words, you have people that are thinking, I want to change my spouse, and I'm going to persuade them, and I'm going to convince them, and here's how I'm going to get them to change. And all of their energy is directed. And then you have like their friends or their counselor or something come to them and say, no, forget about them. You can't change them. You can only change yourself. And generally people like flip back and forth between these two modes. And I think they're both sort of not as sophisticated an understanding of how it really works in relationships. The way it really works is, yes, of course, I can only change me. I can't change my wife. However, it's important to recognize the influence that I have on my wife. My change, we can't be dismissive of the impact that my change has on my wife.
Totally.
A marriage is a system. My wife isn't just who she is. She also is who I am. In other words, when you're in a relationship, if I smile right now to you, you're much more likely to smile back at me.
Yeah.
If I give you a look, your energy is going to change.
Totally.
You're going to, and try it with friends, try it with a stranger on the street,
Yeah.
We don't appreciate generally the impact that we have on our whole family culture. It used to be 100 years ago, nobody would ever walk outside in shorts. Why not? Because nobody did it. Today, we would have no problem walking outside in shorts because it's the culture. So there is a culture in our home. The difference is, out in the world, I can't impact the fashion norms and mores of our society because I'm only one person and I'm not a fashion designer. But in my home, I'm the patriarch. And there's only one other, the matriarch. So the impact, the cultural impact I can have is unbelievable. I'll give you a quick personal example. We at home live by the mantra. And we repeat it all the time. I repeat it to them. They repeat it to each other. Always speak in a calm voice. Always speak in a calm voice. Over and over again. We teach it. We tell stories about it. We demonstrate it. It's a value. And it goes not just, it's obvious that when you're angry, you shouldn't scream or yell. But I'm not talking about that. If it's time for dinner, we don't scream, dinner time. It's not dignified. If somebody's upstairs and you want to call them to dinner, knock on their door and say, it's time for dinner. Why don't you join us? Mm-hmm. And so that's the culture. And so what's my point? How do I tie this back in? Because in our home, when we make a mistake and somebody raises their voice, it's as if they stepped outside in shorts 100 years ago. It's like that doesn't belong here. Mm. That's odd here. That doesn't fit in here. And they wouldn't feel comfortable behaving that way. And they shouldn't. And the they, by the way, is sometimes me. It could be me, could be my wife, could be one of my 5 kids. It's just not how we do things here. So too in a marriage, when we become a certain kind of person, we contribute significantly to the marital culture. And we basically tell our wife or our husband, we tell them through our behavior, through our actions, that this is how we behave here. These are the norms. These are the mores. This is what sort of the expectation is. Yeah. Most people don't appreciate the impact that our behavior has on the marital culture and whether or not a person feels comfortable behaving in the marriage in a certain way. So, usually if we're being criticized and we don't like them and we don't want them to criticize, or they're screaming and they're doing it because we've allowed a marital culture to blossom such that they feel comfortable behaving that way in the marriage.
Yeah. Yep. Very